Hello, this is Jamie with Creations Misfit, and today I'm going to show you two different ways to do the Jacob's Ladder stitch. So this is a blanket that I made. This is a baby blanket. I used super bulky yarn for, and I used the traditional way for this blanket. And at some point I'm going to make a video specifically for this one because I have like more stitches in between than you would traditionally do, but I just wanted to show you kind of what Jacob's Ladder looks like. It's these nice braided looking stitches and it's really easy to do, and there's two ways to do it, probably more than that, but I'm going to show you the traditional way today in just a small swatch, and then you can use that to make any kind of pattern you want if you want to do a blanket or a bag or something like that. And then I'll also show you a more modern way to do it as well. So what I'm going to use today is just some size 4 yarn and a 5mm hook, and we'll go ahead and get started. Okay, so when you're making the Jacob's Ladder, you can just do all one color if you'd like. You can use a variegated yarn, which looks kind of cool. You can alternate rows of different colors, and I'm going to do that today. I'm just going to do a cream color and then blue and then cream blues, just so you get a feel for what the actual loops look like. But just use whatever you have on hand. And to start out, we're going to do a chain, and you're going to work in multiples of 12, and then you're going to add 7 on to the end of that. So I'm just going to do a small swatch today, and I'll do 36, which will be a multiple of 12, and then I'll add 7 onto that at the end. So I'll do a total of 43. But for you, for the length that you want, or I'm sorry, for the width that you want of your project, like if you're, let's say you're working on a blanket and you want it to be 40 inches wide, you're going to double that length of the chain. So if you have a blanket you want 40 inches wide, you want to do 80 inches in your chain, or roughly 80 inches. But remember that you have to do multiples of 12 plus 7. So I hope that makes sense. That's one of the downsides of the traditional way of doing this, but it's really actually pretty easy. Just double the length of your project. All right, so I'm going to do my multiples of 12, which will be 36, and then I'll add 7 onto that, and I will meet you right back after I do all my chains. All right, I have my 43 chains here, and we are going to start with double crochet in the 4th chain from the hook. So let's skip these first 3, 1, 2, 3, and we'll double crochet right into that 4th chain. And these 3 that we skipped, that's going to count as your first double crochet. And we need a total of 5. So you have the first one with the 3 chains that we skipped, and then the second one we did, and we need to get to 5. So let's do 3 more. So this is 3, 4, and 5. And here's what the end should look like. And then from here, we are going to chain up 8. Now make sure that you don't do your, I mean, they don't have to be super tight, but just make sure that they're not too loose, because this is what's going to be our loop that we pull up later. So let's chain up 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we're going to skip 7 chains, and we're going to double crochet into the 8th one. So let's skip 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and we'll double crochet into that 8th chain. It can feel a little awkward on the first row, but you can do it. Okay, and this is what it should look like. And then basically we're just going to repeat that. We want to do 5 double crochet, and then we're going to chain up 8, skip 7, 5 double crochet. So we have 1 already. We need to do 4 more. So here's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then from there, we're going to chain up 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and we'll skip 7 and double crochet into the 8th. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, double crochet into the 8th, and then you'll just repeat that all the way across. Okay, and you should end up with 5 double crochet at the end. So let me go ahead and finish off my row, and I'll meet you right back. Okay, sorry, I hope that this, I couldn't tell like where I was at on my camera. I hope you've been able to see all of this so far. This is what the bottom row should look like, and it'll be a little wonky, and that's okay. We're gonna fix everything. All right, so I just wanted to mention that it's really important that you know your counts so that you end up with just 5 at the end. Okay, let me just zoom out a little bit so I make sure I get this whole thing in camera. All right, and from here we're going to go on to the next row. So if you'd like to change color here, you can. I'm going to, but you don't have to. So I'm just gonna put on a blue one here, and you can change color however you like. I'm just gonna do it like this. And then from here we are going to chain up 3. Sorry, I'm a little confused here. All right, chain up 3 and turn your work. Oh my goodness. Listen, some of these days the brain just doesn't work like it's supposed to. All right, chain up 3 with your new color and turn your work. And I'll weave in those ends later. I'm just gonna cut this for now. That's the only bad thing about doing a different color every row is weaving your ends in. And yes, you can pull them, but sometimes it just, you know, shows up under there, and I don't know. All right, so this chain 3 is going to count as your first stitch for the second row. So this will be our first one. So we're not going to go directly into that first double crochet from before because this counts here. And we're just going to basically repeat. So we need to do 4 more. There's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to do the same thing. Chain up 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We're skipping all these chains from before, and we'll go right into the next stitch. It's a lot easier now. You don't have to count the chains. You just go right into the stitches from the row before. And we'll do 5 double crochet. There's 1, 2, 3, whoops, 4, and 5. Okay, so you can go ahead and finish yours all the way across. You should end up with 5 at the end, and I will meet you back after that. I'm coming up to the end here, and I have 4 done, but remember that first chain 3 that we skipped, those 3 chains, that counts as your first double crochet. So we have to go into the top of that chain 3 there to get our final stitch, our 5th double crochet. So make sure you're getting that in. All right, and then from there we're just going to repeat this. It's an easy 1 row repeat. I'm going to switch colors again and just do every other row a different color. And so go ahead and do as many as you want, and then we will come back together. I'm just going to do a few more and for a small swatch, and then I will show you how to do the loops and we can finish off. Okay, welcome back. So I did a little bit more here, and now you can just kind of pull up a long loop over here, and we'll move on to doing our loops for the Jacob's Ladder part, and then we'll finish off a top row. So for the loops, it's really easy. You can either use your fingers or a hook. I usually like to use my fingers, but I'll show you how to do both. So we're going to start with the bottom here, and we're going to twist the bottom one so that it's kind of in a loop like this. If you can see that. All right, just go ahead and twist. And then you can we're going to grab the next one, the next loop, and feed it through the bottom one. But if you'd like, you could use your hook. So go ahead and twist the bottom and insert your hook like this. That way it kind of keeps it in place. And then we're just going to feed, whoops, we're just going to feed the next loop through this one. So you just go right up under here and pull it through. And you'll do the same thing. So for the blue one, you'll grab that and it's like you're doing a chain. It's like you're chaining with those. See, I like to do it with my hand. It's a little easier for me, but I'll show you that in a minute. So just pull it, whoops, That doesn't help because I'm through the wrong part. This really is easy, I promise. Okay, and then we'll grab the white one next and just like you're doing a chain. And you can see how these are starting to make the Jacob's ladder part. All right, so just go through. And you'll do that all the way up. This is where it helps to have two different colors because you know which one you're grabbing next. And then grab the last one, pull it through, and then just kind of pull up on that, and we're going to leave it while we do the next ones. But see how beautiful that looks? And this is why you need to do your chain double the width of your project, because this pulls it together here. We're pulling all of these. All right, so hopefully that was easy enough. I'll show you on this one how I do it with my hands. So again, you're going to twist the bottom one, and then I just grab the next loop and just feed it through. And then you pull it, you pull it up like that. And then I just grab the next one, I feed it right through, and you can pull up, grab the white, feed it through. This is also easier when you use a bulky yarn like I did on that blanket when I showed you in the beginning, because it gives you more room, you know, inside the loops. But there, okay? So you just do it whichever way you want. You'll go all the way across and do your loops. And pull that last one up kind of tight so that it stays until we go through it at the top. Okay. All right, so there we are, and I'm going to finish up mine. I'm going to tie in my ends, and then we will finish the top row and the bottom row. Okay, so I'll meet you right back. Okay, cleaned up my project here. I just tied, because I'm not using this as an actual project, I just tied the sides and cut them. So if it looks jagged, that's why. But I'm not using this for anything, so it was a time saver. All right, so from here we're going to just clean up the top, and we will chain up 3, 1, 2, 3, which will count as our first double crochet, and turn your work. So we need to do a double crochet in each of these 5, and we have our first one. So go in, you know, you're not going to go into this first stitch because that's where a chain is going. So we'll go into the second one, 3, 4, and 5. And now this might start to come undone. That's okay. You can just pull it back through. And then when you get to the loop, you're going to just go right into the loop and do a single crochet. And that will attach it. And then we're going to do 5 double crochet again. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And as you get closer to that loop, it starts to want to come undone. But like I said, you can just turn your work and grab it again if need be. And then we'll go right into the center of the loop and do a single crochet. And that will be your repeat all the way across. So I'll just go ahead and finish up with you here. We'll do 5. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And to grab my loop again. If you have to turn your work, that's fine. Pull her back up and do a single crochet into that loop. And then you'll finish off with 5 double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and it will look like you just have 4, but that's because of that chain 3 there. So make sure you're always going into the top of the chain 3 to get our 5th stitch. Okay, and then that's the back. Here's the front, and your loops are all together. And from here, we're going to clean up the bottom here, but you'll probably want to do a border for this. I mean, you don't have to, but you'll probably want to do a border. You know, you could do whatever you want, double crochet, single crochet, something else. But I'm just going to show you how to clean up the bottom, and then we will be done with this traditional way. So from here, I'm going to tie off at the top, and we're just going to reattach our yarn on the bottom. Oops. Grab my yarn. My chair is extra squeaky. All right, so we're going to come down here and attach our yarn. You can do it however you'd like. I'm just going to make a slip knot and attach. You want to attach in the first of the 5. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And these are chains down here, so you know it's not that easy to see a full stitch or anything like that, but it's okay as long as we know our counts. Whoops. Okay, and we are going to do a single crochet in each of the first 5. Okay, so we'll go right back into where we attached and do a single crochet. So there's 1, and then you'll just go on the top of each of these. And just do it the best you can. I know that following the chains is kind of hard. Sometimes you have to count backwards, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we're going to be at the spot where we first twisted our yarn. So there's kind of like 2 holes here. And we're just going to do a half double crochet 2 together and to pull these together. So if you're not familiar with how to do that, it's just we start out like a regular half double crochet, yarn over, and we're going to go through this first hole, yarn over and pull up a loop. You'll have 3 loops on your hook, and then we're going to go into that second hole. Just go straight into it, yarn over and pull up a loop. You'll have 4 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through all 4, and that kind of just pulls those 2 together. And then you'll have the next 5. We're going to do a single crochet in each of those. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we'll do the half double crochet 2 together again in these 2 holes. So just go through both sides and pull through all 4 loops. All right, and that's going to be your repeat all the way across. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then half double crochet 2 together. And then just make sure that you're ending up with 5 there at the end. My yarn's going to play funny here. Okay. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and then you can tie off. And like I said, if you want to go through and do a border now, it will be easier because you'll have some stitches up here and here without having to deal with the loops. So that's the traditional way of doing the Jacob's ladder, which is really simple. It's just a 1-row repeat. The only bad thing is just kind of, I don't know, your counts. You know, you have to do the 12 multiples of 12 plus 7, and then, which is easy enough, but then you have to double your chain length, which some people don't like to do. So I will show you how to do the more modern version, which is easier. You don't have to worry about doubling the chain length. We're going to do multiples, but you're going to just do as long as you want your project. So let me get my yarn again. And for the modern version, we are going to do multiples of 5 plus 2. So however long you want your project, just go ahead and do multiples of 5 plus 2. So for me, I'm just going to do, again, a small sample. So I'm going to do 22 chains. Multiple of 5 would be 20 plus the 2. So I'll do 22. You go ahead and do however many you'd like, and I will meet you right back. All right, I finished my 22 chains, and we are going to do a double crochet starting in the 4th chain from the hook again. So we'll skip 1, 2, 3, and we'll double crochet into that 4th chain. And once again, our skipped stitches, those count as a double crochet. And then we will just double crochet in every stitch across all the way down. So this one we don't start our loops right away. We do kind of like 2 bottom rows and then we'll start our loops after that. So go ahead and double crochet all the way across. If you're doing a small swatch like me, you will have 20 double crochet at the end of this round, and that counts that first chain 3. And I'm at the end of my row. Whatever number you did, it should end with a multiple of 5, okay? Just so you know. And then I'm going to keep with this color because the next row is also going to be, we're not doing the loops yet. So I'll change when I do the loops. So we're going to chain up 1 and turn our work. And for this row, we're just going to do a single crochet in every stitch across. This will be the back of the project. So I will have 20 single crochet at the end of this row, and I will see you at the end of yours. And at the end of your row, make sure that you're getting into that last one, which was our chain 3 from the beginning, so that you have an even number, or, you know, an odd number, but your multiple of 5, whatever it might be. Okay, and then from here we're going to do the chain row next, or the loop row next, which is different, but I'm going to change my color. I can get my yarn here, get my life together. All right, and I don't know if you know how to do this kind of changing color. I used to do where I would just pull halfway through, and then with the last pull, I would take in the new color, but it always kind of left a mark there. It just didn't look, I don't know, right. So I just go through these 2 loops and put my new color on, and then you can pull this one out and it stays. Just cut the old one. Okay, from here we are going to chain up 3 and turn our work. And then that's going to count as your first double crochet again, just like the traditional way. And we're going to do 5 total double crochets again. So here's our first one we already did. Let's do 4 more. So there's number 2, 3, 4, and 5. And from here, obviously we didn't do a chain where we're gonna do our loops. We're gonna do it a little bit differently. So we will chain up 9 right from here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. And then we're going to slip stitch right into the bottom of that double crochet right there. Okay, so just go ahead through these 2 loops down here from the bottom of the double crochet and slip stitch. So we've already made our loop. Okay, and then we're going to do 5 more double crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5, and then we'll repeat. We'll chain up 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and go ahead and slip stitch to that bottom again. All right, so there's our loops, and you will just finish this all the way across, and you should end with 5 double crochet. So I'll see you back when we get there. All right, I finished my row, and from here I'm going to stick with the same color because this one is a 2-row repeat instead of 1 row. So I'm going to stick with the same color, and we're going to chain up 1 and turn our work. And for this row, we're just going to do groups of 5 single crochet. So, and I'll tell you why groups of 5, but here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then when you get to the loop, you're just going to push that forward, and we're going to continue with our 5 after that. So you may have to count backward because it's kind of hard to find that first one sometimes, but here's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 if you need help knowing where to go in. And we'll do 5 more single crochet. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. And then we'll push our loop forward again. This yarn. We'll push our loop forward, and we'll do our next 5 single crochet. Okay, and you'll just repeat that all the way across. And at the end of the row, make sure you get your 5th one into that chain 3 that we started with. Okay, and then from there I'm going to change my yarn color because now we're just going to repeat those 2 rows until we get to the length of our blanket. So I would, if you're going to switch colors, I would switch, and it's up to you, you can switch however you'd like, but I'm going to switch, it's row 3 and row 4 are the repeat rows. So I'm going to switch every row 3, which is the loop row, not the single crochet row in the back. I will switch every loop row. So for row 3, repeat again, we're just going to chain up 3. That counts as your first double crochet. And you'll do 4 more. So that's 1. Here's 2, 3, 4, 5. We want 5 total. And then you'll do your chain again. So we 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then come down and slip stitch into the bottom there. And then go ahead and do your next 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, chain up 9, and then just keep going and doing that all the way across. And then when you get to the end, you'll repeat row 4, which is a chain 1 and turn, and then that's when you single crochet in the groups of 5. All right, so I'm going to do several rows, and I will meet you back to show you how we close off for this one. I just wanted to tell you, you're going to end on a single crochet row. So on that repeat of row 4, you're going to end on that. And then we'll do the last 2 rows together, but I'm going to finish off here and weave in my ends, and then I will meet you back to show you how to finish off. Okay, I'm back from doing my last single crochet row, and I changed my color, and I just went ahead and chained up 3 and turned my work. So we're just going to do the last couple rows here, but our loops kind of look like this for now. We will put them through after this row. So for this row, it's really easy. We're just going to do a double crochet all the way across in every stitch, and this one counts as the first one. So let's go into the second because that one goes with the first, and just do a double crochet in every single stitch across. And you don't have to worry about finding the loops or anything like that yet because there's just regular stitches here. Okay, so go ahead and do yours all the way, and I'll see you right back. All right, I went ahead and finished my double crochets, and I just tied those ends off again, so that's why this side looks kind of junky, so don't worry about that. But as you can kind of see already, this is just a cleaner piece. If I actually tied my ends in the right way, you can see it's just a cleaner piece than the traditional way, but it doesn't really matter because you're going to be most likely doing a border, but this way maybe you don't need to do a border, just a thought. So, all right, from here, we're going to go ahead and pull our loops, and we're going to do it the same way as before, but you don't have to start that first one. So this way you can just go right through, and you're just chaining these up basically. Just pull them right through, and this way is kind of easy with the with your hook. All right, those chain up nicely. I actually like this way. I was really stuck on the traditional way. I love doing that, but the more I do this one, I'm like, oh, this is kind of neater and cleaner altogether. But they both work well. Okay, so go ahead and do yours, and I'll see you for the last row. All right, so for the last row, we are going to chain up 1 and turn our work. And we're going to work in like groups of 5 again, and we're going to do single crochets, but we have to grab the loops. So let's go ahead and do our first 4 single crochets. 1, 2, 3, 4, And on the fifth one, we're going to go in, but we're also going to pick up the loop from here. So make sure it's facing the right way, you know, so that the loop is up like this. And we're going to single crochet into the loop for our fifth stitch. Now you can leave it like that, but sometimes I find that it's a little bit off. So for the first, we're going to, like I said, do these in groups of 5. So now we're going to start over with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So for the first stitch of the second group, we're going to go in and do a single crochet again through that same loop from before, just to make sure that it's even. Okay, so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the fifth one, we're going to grab the next loop. Okay, grab the next loop and single crochet it. And then on the first stitch of the next group, we're going to go back into that same loop and do a single crochet. I hope that makes sense. So on the first and fifth stitch of each one, you're going to grab the loop. So that was 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we're at the fifth again, so we have to grab the next loop. Grab the loop and single crochet. And then we're starting with 1, so we're going to go back through and grab the same loop. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 4, and 5 into the top of the chain 3. And from there, you can be done, or you can do like another, you know, let's just go ahead and do chain up 3 and do another double crochet row so that it matches the bottom here. So you'll just double crochet in every stitch across to finish it off. I hope this was helpful. You'll have to let me know in the comments what you thought and which version you prefer or which ones you've tried before. And thanks for being here. If you're not subscribed, I'd love to have you on my channel. I have a lot of pattern tutorials, like actually full project pattern tutorials. I have over 100 of those and more coming all the time. I have all different things, stitch videos, yarn hauls. I do yarn giveaways sometimes. But yeah, I'd love to have you. If you could like, comment, subscribe to the channel, that would be great. If you're on TikTok or Instagram, I am there at Creations Misfit, and I'd love to have you over there as well. And if you comment, I always do reply to everybody. You can let me know, you know, how this worked out for you, what projects you'd like to see, what kind of yarns or colors you used. You know, I love to hear that stuff. Okie dokie. So we are coming up to the end here. And I will just tie off then. But you can see that kind of matches the bottom then. And so here is our modern version, and I'll bring, now that I look at the two of them, I'm like, oh yeah, that looks a lot cleaner. And here is our traditional version, but I do like them both. There's you know, some pros and cons to both. This one is an easy 1-row repeat. I like doing the chains in between, and this one, you know, it's nice that it starts like this. You don't have to reattach your yarn at the bottom. And it does look cleaner overall. But from here, you could just do a border if you'd like, or, you know, whatever you'd like to use this for. So thank you so much for being here. Again, please like, comment, subscribe. I hope to see you in the next video, and I hope you check out some of my other ones. I have a lot up already, and I'd love for you to see if something, you know, catches your eye. But thanks again, and you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you soon. Bye.